Okay, hey, let's go through some notes here. Alright, I got some stuff on the board I'd like to write down. I'm going to go through this pretty quick today. I want to do at least 1 or 2 examples of each. I'm going to do 1 for sure, give you your homework, and if you need more, we'll go through more. Yep, you are getting homework. You're getting your one and only assignment today this week. We'll get a practice guide probably as early as tomorrow, test possibly Friday. Be pretty straightforward. Okay, alright, here we go. You guys ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, here we go.
Disappointed.
First.
Nobody likes me.
You actually can go home.
I actually have the goosebumps.
Okay.
Hey, mine might be broken still. Should I?
Alright. Hey, the problem today, here it is. Okay. Alright, this problem will require that we're going to have to shift my graph. We are going to affect the amplitude, the period length, everything. Now, on this particular graph, we are going to the right. How I know that? This part right here, you can tell they're going to the right because they're subtracting. It's always the opposite when it's in the parentheses. The 4 is going to affect the period. It's going to affect the period or frequency. That'll affect the 4 hash marks going across. The number 2 affects amplitude. So this affects amplitude.
Lucas, you're kind of in my way.
So that's how tall. So that's how tall the waves are. And then the 3, this number is the shift up. So we're going shifting up 3 spots. Okay, if I was drawing this, I would not actually draw first until I know what the period length is, and I know what my hash marks going across are. And I know that seems really weird, is that if I want to be as accurate as possible, I would definitely figure out the 4 hash marks, because usually a cosine graph looks like this. Looks like that. That's a cosine graph. Now it would keep going right and left further and further and further, but the hash marks are these. That's the 4 hash marks going across. It's going to hit the x-axis right at the first marker, the lowest point at the second, back to the middle, back to the highest at the last marker on the normal graph. Okay, but what we're doing is we're shifting it to the right because that -1. The period length has been affected, so that'll affect my hash mark, so I'm not going to go to 2 pi anymore. And then the amplitude will be taller, and it's going to be shifted up. So we have a lot of stuff to cover. I like to figure out the 4 hash marks going across first, just to know where this thing's going to be. Okay? Alright, so to figure out these numbers, first thing, I want to figure out what the starting point is. So, because this starting point will prove the fact that it's going to the right, you know, so many numbers, so many hash marks. So, what you do is you do this. You set whatever's in the parenthesis equal to 0, and you solve for x. So I'm going to add the 1 across, and divide by 4. This is the starting point. That's the first hash mark across. So it's not starting at 0 anymore. It's actually starting at a 4th, wherever that's at. So if I kind of draw this, I'm going to say that this spot right here is the 1/4 marker. It's like the starting point of my graph.
Are you allowed to say that?
Yeah, I don't need to put 0 on the graph. I'm just going to start, it looks like that's supposed to be 0,
Yeah.
but I'm going to call it the 1/4 marker. And then I'm going to go across and draw my normal graph. I'll put the 4 hash marks going this way. Okay, I like to always know where the starting point is. Now, we know from there that the amplitude is affected and it's shifted up or down. In fact, it's been shifted up 3. So this spot is going to be the +3 mark along the y-axis. So that means this graph is actually up here. This 1, 2, 3. So it's starting here, so it's going to do something like this, really. So it's way up above, but it's stretched. So this is going to be the 3 marker. This is going to be the 1/4 marker across. So if you don't want to draw it like that, you can draw it like this, where you can put 0 wherever you want it. You can put 0 here, and then you can shift up 3 and then start drawing it from there. Some people like to do that. They like to put 0, 0 where it's supposed to be. They like to see where that graph's shifting to the right and draw it from there. I don't mind. I like to just start it right at the first marker, right where the 1/4 is.
Me too.
So,
Let's do it that way.
it's just the way that I like to do it. All right, now, We know we've been shifted up 3, so this is going to be the 3 on the y-axis. Okay, the 4 hash marks going across. That's how I figure out what the 4 hash marks are to the right of that 1/4. That's where I'm going to have to figure out the period. Usually the period's 2 pi. Mine is no longer 2 pi. In fact, what you have to do is you have to divide by the number in front of x. So I'm dividing by a 4. So if I take 1 or 2 pi divided by the 4, that's in front of the x, I get pi over 2. This is now, that is not the marker down the road.
Pi half.
I have to cut it in half again,
Graph.
pi over 4, cut that in half again, pi over 8. Now why is this important? And then this would be 3 pi over 8. If that was my normal graph, right? But we've been shifted. So how you know this is what I'm looking for. I like to figure out the starting point, and I like to figure out what that first gap should have been. The first gap should be pi over 8. Because if it was just a 4 there, you take 2 pi divided by 4, divided by 2, divided by 2. This is the gap for the first marker. So how I know this, I'm going to basically add 1/4, but I'm going to add a pi over 8 to it. If you want to write it like that, I'm totally fine with you keeping it like that. That's where the first hash mark is. If you want to type it in your calculator to figure out the decimal for it, I'm fine with that too. That's the gap from the first marker over. It's pi over 8. Then I add another pi over 8. So I'm adding another pi over 8, which is 2 pi over 8, which is pi over 4, basically. Add another pi over 8 to it. I'm adding another pi over 8, which is 3 pi over 8, so I've added on. And then the last marker is 4 pi over 8. This is how some people like to do it. They just like to add pi over 8s every single time. So you just keep adding one more to it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like how I found those 4 hash marks going across?
Yes.
Okay. Just to save you time, that's how I want you to write it.
What would
It's just
be
easy.
the other option?
Type in a calculator and just figure out the decimal. You just write down the decimal.
Decimals aren't exactly.
Yeah. I agree with that. Alright, now, we know that this graph has been shifted up 3, but what's my amplitude from that 3?
2.
2. So we're going up 2. So if we go up 2 from there, I'll hit a total peak of 5 and hit a low peak of 1. The 0, 0 is like down over here somewhere. And now all I'm going to do is draw my cosine graph like I normally would. It's been shifted, the amplitude's affected. So, this is the idea. I'm going to start at 5, go down to the middle, go to the lowest point, come back up to the middle, go to the highest point. There's my graph. It's been stretched. It's been shifted up and to the right a little bit. It kind of looks like the normal cosine graph, it's just but all the numbers are different. Like 0, 0 is like over here. Because I have to go down 1 and over about a 4 to figure out where 0, 0 is. 0, 0 is over here somewhere. So it is, we are shifting over and up. Questions at all about how I did the graph? I think we follow these steps, it's fine. The one part that gets people is like, Ward, how did you get, these gaps? You gotta know how to start, and you gotta know how to find what the hash marks are using the normal where you take 2 pi and you always divide by the number in front of x. That's my rule. Okay, are we good?
So we're gonna have to remember like what the left side is.
Yeah, you gotta know kind of what the generic graphs are, what they normally go out to, but I'm only picking sine, cosine, or tangent. I'm not gonna pick the weird obscure ones. We don't need those yet.
There's more than sine.
I
Obviously,
mean, you got
nothing great.
cosecant, secant. We did those in pre-calc. I'm just not gonna assign those yet. Just because these are the ones we use for most of calculus. We just use the basics for calculus. Alright. We good so far? Can I erase this?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do the other problem I want to do. I want to do one where I start with the graph and we go to a formula from there. Okay?
Let's not do that.
Alright.
That's
Here we
a little
go.
difficult. I already done this. That one seems hard.
Why did you upgrade impulsive and try to eat a Cheerio without chewing it? Do it again. How about now?
Alright.
It's solid. Try it. Just want to chill. Try it.
I need a random number.
Right.
It's 12.
21.
12? I'll go 12.
That's really hard.
They're about the same number.
About
12. Alright.
They're the same if you have dyslexia. Well, I can't get it
It's
down.
literally not.
Let's see.
That's interesting.
Oh. Okay, got it.
like a pie.
It's scraping my
12 pie, grand pie.
Yes, it is. It'll be a long
Holy cow.
Okay, what we're looking at here, this is our graph, okay? They want us to come up with a potential function for it, because again, there's always more than one option, that's correct. I always want the easier one of the two. This definitely looks like it's supposed to be a sine graph. How I know that, it's starting in the middle, not at the highest or lowest point. It's starting right in the middle of the graph and kind of going up and down from there. So we know it's a sine graph. So my final answer should be some form of sine. It should be written like this, where it's, some amplitude number, sine bx plus c. It'll be something like that. Okay, that's on this problem I can already see that. Okay, what's my amplitude from the middle? 21. Up and down. So that means
So we're assuming that that's a 0.
yeah.
I own a beer.
How we know it's a 0 because it was balanced perfectly over 21 and negative 21. So it's 0. If they were off, you have to like subtract them and then take the middle number, or like add them together and divide by 2. That way you can figure out where the middle should be, or just count the figures where the middle's going to be. Okay. So this is going to be a 21. Now it's also my graph for the sine is actually upside down.
I was gonna say that.
Because sine normally goes up and down.
So it's negative.
So it's a negative 21. That just flips the graph upside down. Now, sine, now what we're going to have to figure out is what they're shifting by. It doesn't look like we're shifting right or left, because they're starting at 0, 0. But the period length has been affected, so that we're going to have to affect some number in with the x. So we are just going up and down 0. It doesn't look like we're shifting up and down any, because what Reese said was like, how do you know we're starting at 0? Because I'm balanced between 21 and negative 21, they haven't shifted it up or down yet. We'd have to figure out what that middle ground is, if they were different numbers. All right, now that we know where we're at, we have to figure out that amplitude, because we're not going out to 2 pi. We went out to 12. So what they did is somehow they took 2 pi, they divided by a number, and they ended up with the number 12. Somehow they ended with the 12. So yeah, so the idea is that to figure this out, you just basically switch the x and the 12 around. That's the shortcut for solving for x. And so this turns out to be a pi over 6. That's the number that's in front of your x. That goes here. Whatever that number you just found, that's the number for the period. That's what they're choosing to divide by to make sure that you get 12 pi or 12 out of that thing. Now notice, I'm not dividing x by that. I just put the pi over 6 out front of the x. That's your answer. That's how easy those problems are. The only weird one is that they were to shift it, and you got to figure out what they went by. Okay, questions, comments about how to take graphs? I consider these to be way more simple than the other ones because I'm not assigning any ones where they shift it right and left. I basically only did ones where they went up and down.
Thank you, Mr.
So, if there is one right and left, just let me know and I'll give you that.
Different numbers?
I don't think I assigned any. I think I only
If
assigned
there's
the
a
one.
right and left, you'll give us what?
Yeah, I'll give you the number that how they shift it right and left.
Oh, I paid attention to that.
I think I only picked the ones that just were stretching amplitude and figuring out the periods. All right, here you go. Here's your homework because I want to get this before anyone has to leave because I know some press country leaving here in about 5 minutes. Okay, this assignment is your only assignment of the week. I'm going to make it due on Friday. It's your only one of the week, so I'll just pick Friday. So, all right, here we go. Potentially. We still got to start reviewing, so I want to make sure we take enough days.
I know.
Okay, so we don't have school on
Want me
Wednesday.
to write it down?
All right,
You want to see my
number
No.
10 through 19.
What page?
Oh, wait, sorry,
Uh-oh.
10 through 19, that's the wrong number. 10 through 23,
Oh boy. Holy cow.
27 through 30,
Do you have any
Oh
Christmas?
my
and
goodness.
32. Now, what these are, the
What
10,
these are.
it's 10 through 12. So there's 4 problems right away where they give you a formula and you have to go graph it. The ones like 13 to 23 are all, they give you the graph. You have to give me the formula. Those are way simple. The ones I assigned anyway. And then the 27 through 30, they give you a formula again. You have to go graph it. And the last one is they give you a picture and they give you a couple options and they want to know which option goes with that picture. So it's a matching game. It's really not bad. I assigned a lot more of these because I think these are the ones you can learn probably the most from. They're quick. they're easy. Questions?
I go to that.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Okay.
it's not my uncle.
Tomorrow, at some point in the afternoon, 6th, 7th period, you'll need your Chromebook because they're going to be voting for homecoming king queen candidates tomorrow at the court.
Justin Redding.
Yeah, so that they'll find out. We always announce who the court is, like the 5 females, 5 males, on Friday at the very end of the day, so no one has emotional breakdowns if they don't make it.
Oh, we're
Because they
We have a
have.
new category.
And then after that, next Monday or Tuesday, we vote. I think the whole school votes for
Mr. Ward.
the king and queen. Who
Gary
they
Ray's
actually
the
are.
supervisor.
All right.
November 5th, Gary
So
Ray's
I think it's
supervisor.
Kia.
That's my
So
birthday.
I know.
so
Or can you do it later?
yes.
Miss Ward, today when you got like 4 years ago, that was the election.
I think it like stopped or something, but you're
Oh, you had a super